Team Baxter.
Auto transmission is done up top. You've got it covered up and the motor installed. Flip it over, install one gear and the drive shaft to get to the rear. And also installed a lot of ball ends for the shocks and the rear axles. And now moving on to the steering linkage. I've already got a few parts of the linkage built. And there's the arms that go. So all the steering and the front suspension are starting to go together now. I'm going to get this linkage installed, and then the steering, the arms go on top of it, like so. And now all that will be suspended by the shock system. So I've got the linkage screwed in. It's screwed to an arm on the other side, on the top side, right there. And that controls the steering from the servo. The servo's not installed, of course, but that's how the steering works. It's a little tighter than I thought it would be, but on the used CC-01 I have, the steering is a little loose, so maybe it's better that this is a little tight in the beginning. I actually greased the joints, all the shafts where all this stuff connects, so that it would slide better, but it's still a little stiff. But like I said, that may be a good thing. But anyway, I'm continuing on to installing the arms onto over this steering linkage. I'm still working with the steering linkage and getting the arms installed. But before they have you install the arms, that screw right there, that holds the body post in place. They want you to put the body post in before you put the steering on. This is going to be a major hindrance. It's huge and in the way. It sets the body off. So what you're going to end up doing is setting your body on the post to try to support it, which is probably not the best idea. They have a little bit of flex, but you don't want those to break off. But anyway, the body posts go on before the arms, because once you get the arms on, you can't reach the post to get to you can't reach the screw to get to the post very well. So that kind of stinks. But starting a rear axle assembly on the CC-01, the manual gives you two options for the rear diff. That's an open diff with the moving gears and a lock diff. I'm going to lock the rear differential for better traction, better performance. The kit comes with two diff lockers, and they'll be installed in place of the gears. Just a simple, instead of putting the gears on the spindle, you just pop the lockers on there, gears in, and it all goes into the box, and that gets installed into the rear axle. Here's a lock differential I built earlier. This is going into the axle. And the axle's all been greased up according to the manual. I greased everywhere they wanted you to. I replaced the plastic bearings with sealed ball bearings, and I've assembled the output shaft. So now I'm going to assemble the axle, put the axle shaft into these put the axle shaft into the differential on both ends. And then I'm going to drop that right into the axle housing. Make sure all the bearings are seated properly. And it falls right down in there. It's pretty smooth. So now I'm just going to drop the output shaft in there. I'm going to try not to give it too many spins until I get it closed so that grease can distribute properly with the case on. So just slide the top on now. And it just gets a few screws to secure it on. And that's the rear axle. I got the rear arms attached to the axle that I just built. I also got the connector to connect the drive shaft on, universal joint. This now goes onto the back of the CC-01 chassis. Move this stuff out of the way. Slide the chassis in. Get these two smaller arms here. They snap onto these ball joints. The manual shows that to use a pair of pliers here, but I'm able to just snap them on. If you have a little difficulty, you can use a pair of pliers. And then the rear end, the balls on the bottom of the axle that's screwed in the last step, they snap onto these struts. So you got those connected. You want to connect your drive shaft. I'm going to use a little bit of Loctite here on this grub screw that holds the drive shaft in. And there your drive shaft's connected and the rear axle is spinning. So I'm going to attach the arms to the chassis with the washer and the screw on each side. You got one 3mm washer that goes under the ball that's in the arm. So you have screw, ball, washer, and that goes into the rear hole on this FJ build. Got that secure. I'm going to line up the other side before I screw it all down. So once again, you got one washer, and that's going under the ball in the arm, and that goes into the rear hole as well on the other side. I'm going to get those tightened down and move on to the shocks or dampers as the Tamiya manual calls them.